Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back. So, for those of you who haven't been following the Unity situation, essentially this is the quick breakdown. Unity wanted to bring forth some new fees that were kind of ridiculous, and then they later backpedaled on it because there was a lot of controversy. Basically, like, they were trying to add a pretty sizable fee to game devs when their games are downloaded or installed by new users. People didn't like it. They were really unclear about exactly how things would be stipulated. They backpedaled but did not go back on the actual thing. They just kind of like lessened it. So it was one of those things where they took like 5 steps forward in order to charge people, and then when people got upset, they took like 2 steps back. So they still moved that goalpost, and that might have been their original intention all along. But yeah, they tried to pull a fast one. But anyways, the CEO has actually been canned, and whenever I see that CEOs of companies that, you know, will make a decision and that decision suddenly gets them fired or causes them to step down, I'm always skeptical, because first of all, if this decision was so bad that the guy deserved to be fired over it, why is the decision still implemented just in a lesser capacity? Don't be fooled, okay? This is literally just a way for the company to save face. It's just, hey, look, he's gone, we're listening. Even though, like, I mean, it's hard to feel too much sympathy for, you know, CEOs of companies who are like millionaires and trying to, you know, like get what little money they can out of everybody, trying to squeeze people. But whenever I hear that someone loses their job, it doesn't really make me happy. Okay, and I don't. Whoever the new CEO is gonna be, that's not gonna cause any sort of change. Like, it's just a new face, right? But anyways, let's get into the article, courtesy of The Verge, and we'll discuss from there and keep you guys updated. So, Unity's CEO is out, but that still may not be enough for game developers. So yeah, people are as skeptical as me about this. Unity's CEO is out, but that might not matter for game developers frustrated with the company. John Riccitello, I can't pronounce this guy's name, has announced that he's retiring from his role as CEO of the game engine software Unity, who previously held the top at Electronic Arts. The top job at Electronic Arts. Okay, so there you go. He used to work at EA when it was voted the worst company in America and had some controversial ideas about the game's monetization. Okay, so he retired. He'll retire effective immediately, but remain as Unity employee until April 2024. Earlier last month, Unity announced it would change its pricing model, making developers pay for games on a per-install basis once certain revenue and download thresholds were met. When the initial price changes were announced, developers reacted angrily, condemning the changes that they believed would financially imperil, if not outright bankrupt, the smaller indie developers who primarily use the engine. Among calls for Unity to reverse changes, which it now has introducing a new 2.5% revenue share, some developers wanted Richie. Let me see if I can pronounce this. It sounds Italian. Richie Tiello? Maybe it's not. To be fired, since he's the company's CEO, had become the face of the wildly unpopular pricing changes. See, this is the thing, though. He might be the CEO, but whoever has the power to fire the CEO is the one that's actually making these decisions. Let's be real. They become the face of a wildly unpopular pricing changes. Now that he's leaving the company in combination with newer pricing terms, developers have seemed to be temporarily appeased, but sentiment towards Unity hasn't monumentally shifted to positive, as many still simply do not trust the company and are looking for alternative game engines. Is it good that he's leaving? Yes, said Brandon Sheffield, director of Necrosoft Games, who penned one of the first seeds condemning Unity's initial price changes. But I do trust that Unity will never do another rug pull on pricing. No. Reaction to Unity forums to their departure was mixed. Some lauded the decision as a good first step towards restoring trust, whilst others saw the move as a way to appease shareholders and not Unity customers. Exactly. Indeed, Unity stock price has fallen significantly since the price changing announcement, and according to company filings, Unity has not been profitable. I mean, it's all good and dandy, but Unity is still a public company, and the main goal is for shareholders to be happy, not the game devs, wrote a user on Unity forums. So I will still hold my optimism about this decision. we got some other people, you know, giving off their quotes. But The Verge has also reached out to several other studios who put public statements condemning Unity, including Aggo Crab, Megacrit, and Innersloth, to see if any are reconsidering their stance on the engine. For some developers, though, moving away from Unity was never going to be feasible, and they are glad of the changes. We were never going to not use Unity, said Danny Lalanders, creator of Validate Struggling Singles in Your Area. A lot of us don't have the resources to port to a new engine. These new changes don't go into effect until a new version of Unity is released sometime in 2024, and only if developers adopt that version of the engine. It will also only impact developers making at least 1 million with 1 million downloads, though these changes will impact smaller number of developers and protect currently released games and projects in development. For some, it was never about the money or the CEO. John leaving doesn't really make a massive difference to us. It doesn't really change anything, says Gary Newman, creator of Gary's Mod and Rust, who previously had choice words for the company. I can't imagine what they could possibly do that would make us trust them as a partner again. My feeling now is that Unity is a drug that we need to try to get off. So yeah, people aren't exactly happy with Unity regardless of the CEO being canned. So this is the thing. People are going to say, oh, he wasn't canned. Listen, when someone steps down publicly, they're basically told step down or we'll fire you. That's why I'm saying canned, if anybody was wondering. But yeah, to me, it's like, if this guy, first of all, they worked on EA when EA was considered like the worst. So if this guy was that bad, he wouldn't, and they cared about their customers, they wouldn't have made him CEO in the first place. Secondly, if his ideas were, you know, that bad for the company, I'm not saying they weren't that bad, because they were, but if the company didn't stand behind his ideas, then they wouldn't accept this backpedaled model, right? I'm telling you, they threw the ball out as far as they could up the hill, and you know, maybe it landed somewhere up there and never came fully down, because that was kind of their idea. They were like, all right, let's set the goalpost way out, and then we can move it back a little bit when people get upset. That's how these companies do it. They try to take a mile, and then in doing so, they backpedal but still take a few yards. It's such a common thing. It's like a lot of these game studios that start to integrate microtransactions and stuff, right? They'll start with, oh, it's just cosmetics only. And then they'll start adding like a little bit of convenience stuff here and there. Oh, you can hold more items if you have this. Oh, you can you know, skip some grind if you use this. And then slowly but surely it starts to snowball, and eventually you just end up with a game that's pay to win. It's the same sort of mentality with a lot of these bigger companies. They will throw something out there that's outlandish, backpedal, but still get some of what they wanted. Maybe the original model they came out with wasn't what they were actually trying to get, but they knew if they pissed people off, they could backpedal it. Maybe they didn't realize how much backlash they would get, but, you know, here we are. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on the whole situation. Do you think this guy being retiring is gonna actually do anything for Unity as a whole? If you're a Unity dev, are you going to be able to trust them now? Do you think it's a step in the right direction? Do you think the new CEO is just going to be just as bad? Let me know your thoughts, and yeah, subscribe for daily monster taming videos, or just you know, important stuff in the gaming community. I'll see you next time. Peace.